You're listening to Knives Monroe versus the podcast, and we're here to make things about guns and stuff.
Welcome to another episode of Knives Monroe versus the podcast. I'm Knives Monroe. How you guys doing? Hopefully you're doing well. This is the first time I've ever done a live stream, and I'm here with the live stream aficionado, the black belt in live stream. I'm here with Trent Knox. Trent, how you doing?
Black belts.
You are the black belt, sir. So I think
Yeah.
you're going to be surprised on how I'm doing this, and I don't want to bother people with the technical mumbo jumbo, but I'm pretty stoked with how this is coming out. And thanks for coming on the podcast, man, on a Saturday night. I know you had better things to do, but it means a lot that you're here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, between flipping through Tinder and eating ice cream, you know, a lot of stuff to do.
God damn it, you sound like me. I'm sorry, but yeah, same. I was I got to get a podcast out today. I wanted to do this yesterday, but I passed out on my couch pretty early. My girlfriend was watching Supernatural, and I blacked out and slept like 13 hours. I can't believe how tired I was. And so I woke up. I was like, "Fuck!" There is no naps. Like when you reach a certain age, like it's not going to be a nap. It's going to be a complete blackout situation. But I wanted to be able to get one podcast in the can, so to speak, so I'd have tomorrow covered. And I've only been like a day or two ahead of my schedule once or twice during these 25 days. So, yeah, but I couldn't do it. But we're able to do it now, and I think it's cooler now. So thanks so much for coming on, man. I feel like a bad open mic comic being like, so what else? What are you doing? What are you up to? But what do you got on your mind there, man? I'm curious.
You know, I've got aspirations to do multicam stuff. So, I mean, you saw the little bit that I was able to put out there with Robert yesterday, and so that's some of my aspirations. I'm in the gym trying to grind out, you know, cut some weight down, lose some fat, and I guess the third thing is, you know, I'm trying to crawl out from under my rock to see some light and maybe interact with more human beings.
Do you think those are worthy goals? And I'd say I pretty much share the same goals as you. The multicam thing, I can't even fathom that right now. It's easier for me to record 3 things at the highest settings and then just multicam post-production. Way easier. But I understand the value of the live stream, especially for what you got coming on your plate in the future. Going to the gym, dude, I lost 15 pounds and I gained 10. And that's been the story of the past 12 years of my life. Really shitty. I hate that. But I don't, so you're not alone. You're not alone. I appreciate you putting in the hours, the time, brick by brick. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
And as far as interfacing with more human beings, I like to put it that way because it makes me sound like an alien, and that's how I actually feel. But I'm right there with you, man. And I've always worked notoriously to my own. You know, it hurts me. I always worked. I have to create a project, and then my entire life, like a hurricane, revolves around the project. And so the daily podcast project helps me interface with people, helps me get out of my comfort zone, helps me say yes to more opportunities, helps me be put on a schedule of a functioning normal human being. You take the project out and I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to be. What does Trent Knox need to do to interface with more humans IRL?
Well, man, I got this thing called social anxiety, I think. And where I think I got this was from interacting with human beings, ironically. And I just, I look at things like meetup.com, and I look at Facebook meetups, and I RSVP, or I interest in them, and then I'm like making excuses as to why it doesn't make sense for me to go to these.
Yeah, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Tony Robbins, a guy that I quote a little too much, I think. I'm like all about the Kool-Aid. I got some Tony Robbins Kool-Aid right here. Calls that approach avoidance, and I love that. It's what it is. I'm the biggest flake in the world, man. Like, and a lot of it has to do, like, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but I am hyper narcissistic and vain, so much so that like I've developed this Phantom of the Opera sort of persona that I think is just stems from insecurity and agoraphobia. Agoraphobia, like feeling like you're ugly, feeling like you're hideous and you don't want to go outside. But I feel that way, man. Like I don't like to go outside, and I'll avoid networking parties and things like that because I feel like I'm disgusting. I feel so shitty inside. I can't go
Isn't
out.
so I guess uh you ever, like, for today, I looked down at my penis and I was just like, man, I had like a weird, like, situation. I was like, oh man, I'm happy with the size of my penis, but then immediately, like a second later, it was like, I've got the smallest penis in the world. And so for men and women, there's obviously body dysmorphia, in the sense of like, how do other people perceive you versus how do you perceive yourself? You know what I mean? And maybe it's crass to talk about things that are
No, I
more.
don't think so. I don't think it's crass. That's the toxic masculinity talking,
Like,
telling
to talk
you
about body dysmorphia, or,
that you can't talk
sexual
about
organs.
exactly that you can't talk. No, no, no. You can't talk about being a human and being insecure. And it's true, man. Like if we had our penis sizes like a Snapchat AR filter on top of our heads everywhere we walked around,
Hmm.
maybe less men would be walking around in public. And I don't say that to body shame anybody, but I just think that has something to do with going out with other people. Gosh, there's so much I want to say about that. That
But how do women relate to that? Is it based off of, like, hair color, or like what how does that, as a generally being a human, like, how does, you know regardless of gender, what is that sort of ego for women? Is it breasts? Is it ass?
I
I
think it's
mean, is
everything.
it Instagram model having a follower count?
I think it's everything. I think it's do not like that there. I think it's their bodies. It could also be their menstrual cramps. It could
Hmm.
also be I made a movie about this. It was my first film about this, about bulimia. And so we don't know. That's the thing about social anxiety, is that it's invisible, right? So it's kind of hard to. It's not just all external, and for everybody, it's different. It could just be they had a bad situation happen with someone that they trusted. It could be anything, but good thing for me. I don't try to what's the word? Not label, but diagnose other people and what they have or don't have or what it could be. I'm not a doctor, and I also have
I
no.
think we're spinning off here, but I think I saw this YouTube video. It was a picture in picture. Have you been seeing these things going around, where someone will react to another video based off of, like, what the one person said, or they had an opinion, and then the other person gives their reaction,
Sure.
on that. Well, this is like, I can't remember who it was or anything, and I feel bad because I'm not giving them credit for this. But the woman was basically saying that there's all of these simpletons, which the people call them simps now, walking around the world expecting girls to just fall at their feet, expecting men to just fall at the feet of girls, when they're not. doing anything to achieve the goals in their relationships that they want, or the ones that they think that they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what she had said was like, if if a man's not willing to do uh the simple things like keep in contact with
Mm-hmm.
a girl, then why, or stay front of mind, then why should she give any time or effort to that relationship? And then if he's not willing to do things that are executable, like going on dates, or bringing her lunch or things, why should she stay in that relationship when she could go with another man who would provide those things for her? And then it split from that opinion to to a man's opinion of that
Mm-hmm.
opinion, and being like, well, every man, or not every man, but there are two types of men that expect to be pampered for them, and men who will do the pampering, but they will have multiple options open. And I just didn't seem to find myself fitting in
Mm-hmm.
either of these categories.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't keep tabs on girls. I don't keep tabs on my friends a lot of the time, and I feel like that's the thing. Like, I want to build a romantic relationship with a girl, but I just don't. My lifestyle doesn't. The way that I keep tabs with my friends doesn't translate to that depth. I don't know.
Well, it's a meme, right? So I don't think it's intended to be taken one way and applicable for all.
Yeah,
Um, but that's an interesting approach, and you can't deduce male female relationships and dichotomies to one meme. That's going to be a one size fit all.
yeah,
I will say that I'm kind of out of my jurisdiction here because I got into a long term relationship and I was a serial monogamist as well when I
hmm,
was single. I didn't want and I didn't want to just fuck around. I did it, but I never felt great about myself. And I want to I always appreciated about me that I respected women, was hyper vigilant about that.
yeah,
So but in between those, you know, in between being single, I was a serial monogamist. Like I was ready to be with this person. And so I've been with Claire for 7 years, but what happened since that time of not being single is the online dating scene, and there
hmm,
are intricacies in there that I don't have a shorthand for and that I don't understand. So it's
hmm,
kind of hard. Like what I was saying before, I can't diagnose anybody and I can't say, oh, I know what you're feeling, because these feelings are almost new. They're brand new, and
yeah,
I unfortunately like I can't really relate to them because back in my day, okay, boomer,
yeah,
I yeah, if I liked a girl, I'd walk up to her, I'd talk to her, get her number, follow up, go plan
yeah.
something.
But then at that time, man, there wasn't any of this. There was no 100,000 followers issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
There
there's
was.
still an
I mean, I don't know if
insecurity
that
issue.
exists now, really,
There's
but
an insecurity. That's just another insecurity. It's not. It doesn't. It's not more valid than any other insecurity.
I mean, like, I felt personally, I felt like I've shot my shot to that level, and been denied. Like, at that level, even if it's like, anyway, let's kind of go back to a different route here. Maybe we'll get to that in the long run. But I think that I've been hearing this conversation in my lifestyle and the way that I live right now at multiple different angles. I have the people, you know what a red pill is?
Yeah, of course.
So I hear these red pill relationship specialists talking about how, women in this day and age are not going to settle for somebody who isn't investing, you know, all of the things that the old the the old world of relationships where women had to provide for men. It's now like, if you don't provide everything for me, then why don't I just go to another John? You know what I mean? So essentially, in the red pill relationship side of things, it's like this more aggressive, dominating male uh behavior over there. But then you hear like on from the like the more middle to where women or men can talk about this. It's like they they see relationships as a two-way street. You have to contribute to each other. And if you don't match in ways of like you don't have the same follower counts or you're not in the same social circles, then it's like there's no value in the relationship, let alone a long-term business deal of a marriage.
Okay.
And then there's the left, which is like this is the more like reasonable side, where it's like none of that all matters, and it's all about love, and it's all about connection, and it's all about this finding your soulmate, all of the zodiac signs and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just real challenging. These things existed before, but now it's like your resume, your dating resume is, you can pull that up immediately. Like if
Mm.
that's the thing. Like I'm kind of I've been watching like videos of like men who are like 50, 60-year-old virgins or whatever,
Yeah.
that you can't seem to establish a relationship in depth. Luckily, in certain circumstances, I have been able to. I'm just finding it really challenging now to get into new social circles, and in those social circles, discovering people who are open to new romantic relationships, let alone regular relationships.
Ooh, man, you're touching on something entirely profound. I also think that it's entirely possible that maybe collectively we're overthinking things. It's not complex. The internet world is it's a simulation, and there are relationships and sexual things that can happen in the simulation that you cannot expect to be applicable in the real world. I would almost argue choose the real world. I think there's like this big delta, this big gap in like modern connections that really want to converge the simulation, the internet world, and the real world. I only used the simulation, the internet, as a gateway to get talking to someone in real life. And I think this holistic approach to the internet is coming back. I think it's coming back with this whole minimalist wave that I see really reaching like a mainstream, tapping into like, why do we need wallets? Let's just use Ziploc bags. Like I really see this Gen Y is really going to want to feel connected to the world because they grew up on iPads and high-speed internet. So I see them really popularizing unplugging from the matrix in effort to trade for like the real human emotions. So I guess when I don't want to be dismissive and say don't put all your eggs in the internet basket, but I do think people are overthinking these things because everybody can see your girlfriend or boyfriend search history is only true if you put it out there. It's only true if your personal reality is completely crystallized in the internet. Then I can see that happening. But you have to divorce that and just look at that sim for what it is and choose real world connections. I think that's what we're really after. That's like signing up for the Facebook event, but then going to the event.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to apply that more in relationships. I didn't become interested in the nuances of like male-female relationships, like, when you're single and stuff, until I basically got married. And I became more liberal, I think, in a way, when I got married, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to sex as well. Like I was like a prude when I was 16, 17, 18. I was a fucking prude, believe it or not. And now I believe everybody should just be fucking everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and then sort it all out later. Sort it out later. You know,
I think that exists, but I think that does exist. My question is like, you know, for me, I'm not. I guess I'm not just doing it. I'm not. It's not. I'm not executing on that. I don't know. I hear that a lot. That we should just be, having sex with multiple people, and it's just like and this is like where I get frustrated because it's hard for me to get these words out. Is that it's like people say this, and then it's a ha moment when you admit that you're not doing it.
No, I don't think it is anymore. I don't believe that. I don't want to believe that. What is the ha moment that you're not doing it exactly? Doing what?
So you're not having sex with multiple partners.
That's okay.
Like,
It's not about promiscuity, and it's not about the you look up at the scorecard and do you have more than this person? It's not that. It could be and also it's about like take the sex part out of it and just replace it with dates. How many women have you bought coffee for and had great chats with? Like that's I think we're honestly like that's a crucial part of this. It's a crucial part of relationships, man.
It's
like
screwed up. The thing about it is that you brought money into it. And
when
immediately I think
how did I do that?
Buying coffee.
Okay. Well, I mean, going to the library, like whatever that is, you know?
Yeah, no, I know. But it's, you do have to look at it like, it's a bit of a percentages game. So where are you going to be able to interface with the most people that, whatever goal you're looking to achieve, whether that's romance, business, whatever it is.
Well, what is it for you?
I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling with that because I am hurting for money. That's for sure. I am hurting for intimacy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm hurting for, entertainment. That's for sure. Like, it's just like, there's so many areas in which I feel depleted, and that I don't feel like, I feel like I'm not getting the most out of life. I don't know if that's the right word, but
there's the movie Into the Wild, spoiler alert, based on a true story, and the thesis of the movie is happiness is only real when shared. And I think that's where the sense of depletion comes from, the void. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think it can come from the human connections, and the money and all that stuff is it's a different diagnosis. Like, we're comparing cancers and flus and diabetes, and so I think the money ailment is a different cure, right? But the relationships
it can take up so much of your time. Is essentially what I'm getting at. Is like, you can spend so much time hunting your soulmate, and you can spend so much time hunting your business partner. You can be so much time hunting these different things, and you've been lucky enough to find your soulmate and your business partner in one individual.
Yeah.
And I would like to see some data on how, what's the likelihood of that to happen. I don't know. I think it's kind of,
I'm going back to Tony Robbins. One thing he talks about is proximity is power, which means, and you also have to be specific. Like, there's parts of the brain that you can turn on, the switches, to have your conscious and subconscious be alert to the environment, right? It's like, he gives this example. It's called the reticular activating system in the brain, which is, you buy a blue Toyota Corolla. Now, when you're on the highway, you see a lot of blue Toyota Corollas that were always there, but you never even thought to notice them Now you think about them because it's in the brain. It's the same thing when it's like kind of like taking that and sort of like The Secret manifesting. This is why people create mood boards and dream boards or whatever they're called, because if they're focused on their goals and their dreams, they're going to notice the opportunities and then bringing them on board with them onto the boat in their life, right? And that's how I
Can I
met
talk to you
Claire.
about something that's crazy though?
Go ahead.
So I was just thinking, I can't count how many girls that I've called my girlfriend, and I also don't know the number of girls who would deny that title, as well as the girls that thought they had that title.
I don't understand.
So what I mean is that um, people have these ailments in life. Uh-oh, I'm disappearing.
Yeah, don't look at the stream because I put it to a 2-shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see how I did that? I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. You know, you can right click and do fit to screen in transform.
While you're streaming?
Yeah.
Okay. Fit to screen. How do you do that?
Right click it. And then it comes up with a menu. It should say transform.
Mm-hmm.
And then it should say fit to screen.
Skadoosh! Boom! There it is. That's cool. Yeah.
So what I was meaning is like, well, in the internet world, like Tinder, Bumble, Facebook dating, all of this, there's just so much documentation out there if you're a social media person on who you were like in a relationship with, or
Right. I know what you mean. Yeah.
but then like there's not too much.
You're
data
scrolling
on
down Instagram. Oh, he was with this person. He was with that person. He was with this person. It's dated. Yeah.
But in not only that, but like, you know, you might not even know this, but there might be people out there claiming to be in a relationship with you based off of these fake profiles, or no, not fake profiles in the sense that they're like copies of your profile. You know, that people, you know, they just want to be validated, you know. And I recognize that now. I'm like, dude, I completely understand why someone would take the profile of the most popular person in their town and make a a version of that, and then try to pass off like that they're in a relationship with that person, you know, and then be like, oh, but he's always in Hollywood, and you know, he's always overseas, or she's always in, you know, she's always working or whatever. There's always some excuse as to why that person isn't really in their life, but it allows them to kind of get out of that awkward conversation when you're in, you know, you're in a social circle where people are in relationships, you know.
Well, you're talking about something vaguely, but you're talking about something very specific, very vaguely, very generally.
Yeah, I mean, because this particular thing, I've seen it happen before with like only through like catfishing videos and things like that, where it's like, you know, and these may be narratives that are just completely false or never have existed, but you know, I've never personally been connected to someone that this has happened to, so I can't be specific on that in that regard. But I know that like it becomes quite difficult in the digital world, because nothing is authenticated in the sense of like you're holding on to your loved one's hand in a crowd of people.
Yeah, but nothing on the internet can be authenticated. Nothing. None of it.
Yeah.
None of it. God, I don't want to say this. Okay, I'm not going to say that. I almost did that. you've seen it before online where somebody from high school is an entrepreneur today. But deep down inside, let's say you met someone in high school that would have laughed at what you're doing today. That would have been like, Trent's a fucking dork. He's a loser. He's a fuck. How dare this guy? Who does he think
That's
he
what
is?
I think every day.
Okay.
That's
So wait. So, but let's just call a person that would say this about you. Let's just call her Sarah. And
that's ironic.
That's what Sarah would say. I don't know, but I just made up a name.
Yeah.
But let's say that's what Sarah would say about Trent Knox.
She would.
Okay.
She would.
But now on Instagram, Sarah
Is famous.
is a streamer consultant. Pay her $149 an hour, and she will consult you on streaming.
Yeah.
How do you validate that when you know the person behind the scenes, and you know that ain't how they are? They don't give a shit about this world, but it's popping, it's hot. And so now all of a sudden they're an expert in this. Well, they're marketing themselves as an expert in this.
Uh-huh.
That is like most of the fucking internet. It's most of it. It's most of it.
The thing is, like,
and so if you're
I
trying
wanna
to, and then you
pick out
take
some
the
pieces.
looking for boyfriend and girlfriend, you take the what's that word? You know, being on the, I don't want to say being on the prowl. It sounds so predator, but like you take, you know, the exploration and dating process into the internet, dude. You don't know, you can't validate these people, you know. And also, I don't think you're supposed to. I think you try it out and then you realize it doesn't work. But quite frankly, I think you should take a more general approach, see where people hang out, and if it's an open bar or whatever, going, meeting people, shaking hands, having conversations. And like that vibe saves you potentially weeks, months, years, as opposed to smelling people's butts, you know, on your phone, you know, like a dog, like trying to figure people out. Like, no, just use the internet as a gateway. That's all it's ever been intended for. Not to take place of how we did certain things. Not when it comes to human connections and relationships.
Yeah.
Not that. Maybe automating businesses and stocks and what we're doing right now, but not when it comes to connections, man. Like, I'll tell you, like, I was talking to Claire on Facebook. It was a long distance thing before we made it official. And we would write each other handwritten letters. I still have some. But I couldn't wait to meet with her in person and see if this was real. Met with her in person, and it didn't take long for me to be like, dude, like you got to be careful when you can fall in love with like the avatar. You can fall in love with like it's called a parasocial relationship, like who you think that person is. I couldn't wait to like crumple that up into a ball and throw it in the trash can and get to know the real Claire, and I did. And I also knew that I could sell myself better in person because she's going to see my aura. She's going to be attracted to that light, which she was. Not because I'm all that, but just because I'm far more charming in person than I am. Like, I don't know can't do that. You know, even if you're doing this, like a Skype, like I've done that too. It's still not the same of like seeing me and being with me, and like, it's way different in 3-dimensional space, right? So I would just take the alley-oop of the internet but slam dunk in real life.
You know what's weird, Knives? I noticed this on one of your podcasts with a female guest. Is you interface with women a lot different than you interface with men?
I'd like to think that it's an individual basis. Like, here's an example.
Not what I've noticed. It's just like,
well, here's an example. Look at my in-person podcast with Carlos Diaz. And contrast it to another in-person podcast that I had with a woman. I'd like to know the differences, like with that particular podcast, because
I think that you relate more on the family concept and
with him,
the responsibilities of a woman. No, with women.
Oh,
women.
Well, I see. Well, here's the thing. So, and I've always said this. It's not a secret. Like there's masculine frequencies and feminine frequencies, and let's not get into the gender politics of all that.
Yeah. I'd say you're a lot more youthful whenever you're talking.
With women.
There's a youthful energy
It's
in
interesting.
you.
I don't know. I don't know how to take that. I can't. It's not something I want to defend against. But
That's not
I have.
necessarily a
I'm
bad
much
thing.
more. I was raised by a single mom. You know.
Yeah.
I never had any older brother or older brother figures or
Yeah.
male figures in my life. So also, I actually think like I bring a lot of feminine energy. Like, and I'm fine with that. Very comfortable with that. And also like it's hard for me to make male friends.
Uh-huh.
When I used to work a regular 9 to 5 at a call center, all my friends were female. Like it's just, and it was never. And I will tell you this. Oh, and I get to say this on record. I'm happy I get to say this on record. You just got a comment. His volume is kind of low. Your volume is fine, but this is hard to hear. Damn it!
I'm
So annoying.
confused.
Um,
Which one's which? So,
Let me
your
just.
volume or
I'm gonna
my
raise
volumes, though?
raise my decibel level just up a little bit here on. Actually, that's not gonna affect. That's not gonna affect anything.
I think it's mine, or you. It might be through the OBS.
Right, but everything's like we're both the same on OBS. Well, let me just get this out. I'm sorry. We're gonna, dude. This is my first time ever doing this, so whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, what was I? Oh, let me tell you something that I love, and I love this. This is gonna sound really creepy. I'm sorry, but I can sense sexual tension just by the virtue of being a man and by talking to a woman. There's a sexual tension. I disarm that fucking thing in the first 2 seconds so women can be comfortable with me and be themselves with me. And then you get to actually know a person that way. But there's always, and I can remember being single and like, maybe I like this girl. And suspending the sexual tension in the air as a would they, could they, will they, won't they? And you flirt in that tension. I don't, as someone who's not single, I don't want that energy. And when that energy is there, I try to get rid of it. So I love putting my guard down and becoming like instant friends with women. And then they're way more comfortable. Oh, this guy's not trying to fuck me. I love that. I fucking love that. And I can tell subconsciously just with their antenna that they appreciate that. And it's much more of a genuine relationship because I ain't trying to fuck anybody. There's no options and planting seeds and I'm talking to somebody over here, keeping them on retainer because I got this person over here. It's like, no, you're humanizing a person. You're treating them like a human being. And women deserve that the most. And I think you should do that when you're courting a woman. Mm-hmm. Not like, sup, girl? WYD. What's your Insta? Like, these little social interactions online are dehumanizing. And it's a tell for who you are and how you treat people to begin with. You know, we live...
I agree 100%. And I think that's the challenge. I'm not behaving in the way that single women are used to. They're used to that behavior. The behavior, hey, what's up? What are you doing? Do you want to go? Basically, these days, guys will just go straight to, like, you want to come over and smash.
Right.
You know, like, it's just like, there's no courtship. There's nothing like that. And so it almost becomes like girls are like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you like all of the rest of them?
Sure.
Know? And then it's like, it's not, they don't know how to, the girls behave because you there's just like, people say this and I don't want to be taken wrong, but girls will cycle the same. Like they'll be on the same menstrual cycle. So if they start hanging out with other girls that behave that way, then they'll start behaving that way. And they'll just label everything step by step the same. You know, like it's like
you're talking about like
the
synchronization when that happens.
Yeah, you got to get with a guy that's like this, that treats you bad, and that doesn't care about your well-being. And then once you change him, once you change him, then you marry him or whatever that shit is. I don't know how to explain it.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
for me, it's like I am both guys. I am that guy that's like, hey, what are you doing? Come on over. But I just don't practice that, and so as a result, I find myself just being in this zone where I'm like, what do I do? How do you find the intermittent, the in between of the guy that's like bringing flowers, has the coat, all that.
So I think you
know?
fuck all of that. Fuck all that. You're fucking up.
Yeah.
Don't compare yourself to other men.
No. That's what I'm saying.
Don't compare yourself to any
is.
paradigms.
She and her
Fuck
pack
all
of
that.
she-wolves
Fuck all that. Fuck all that. Honestly,
do you understand? Because
I
it
do.
is a biological thing. It's not
sure.
like
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
yeah.
You're forgetting what's really important, and that's just basic human connection. Just basic human connection. Sure. And just being genuinely curious.
The risk though these days is, and
no,
this comes down
there's no
to
risk.
Like the risk in the world.
There's no risk.
It is. I faced it.
Okay, what's the risk? What's the risk?
Being in the situation where you shoot your shot at a very attractive girl in a public setting, and it's like just public humiliation right in front of you, like a drink in your face or a slap on the face, or you did this or you did that. And I know it's just like go on to the next step, just like keep trucking in the free world, you know what I mean? But it's also like that stuff doesn't go away. It's still, you still have to deal with that emotional baggage of being rejected in public.
Okay. And so like what does that have to do with the next relationship?
Well, the next relationship doesn't exist because you just keep on, you get the fear, the social anxiety, the fear of that situation happening again. Like being
this is like here's an equivalent.
You lose your friends. You lose the friends that you were friends with because you tried to shoot your shot at the girl that was associated with your friends, and then your buddies are laughing at you because all 20 of them have smashed her and you're the only one that hasn't. So then it's like you're going down this long path of like, what do you do with your life?
It sounds like in that particular very specific example, you shouldn't feel a way about not smashing, to use your parlance, a girl that your 20 other friends smashed. You shouldn't feel a way about that. It's number one. Number two, man, this shit ain't complicated. This shit is not complicated. Like,
we're trying to make it simple, but if it's not complicated, then it's simple. And then they call you a simpleton, which is a simp. And like, fuck.
Look, to be fair, I don't know what the modern 21-year-old woman is looking after when it comes to finding a guy. Right. And here's the thing. Quite frankly, how many of those women are looking to get married already? I'd like to think that most people are like playing around in their early 20s, right? So those priorities are different than if you're dating someone in their early 30s. They've already got that shit out of their system. Now they're looking for someone that they can talk with, laugh with, dance with, Netflix and chill with. And if they can 69 each other and have a great time on top of that, that's wonderful. That's fantastic, right? So there's priorities in different, the maturation level of any given person. There's different priorities there, right? Compared to your college person versus your person who's already knee deep in a career versus whatever. I guess here's what I'll leave any and everybody with. Like, and I got this from Tony Robbins. I've talked about him way too much, but I don't want to feel like I came up with this. And here's what he said. I did it, and it worked for me. Write down a list of everything you want in a significant other.
Yeah.
And be as specific as possible. Yeah. Number 2, write down a list of all the deal breakers the red flags that you do not want in a lover.
Yeah.
Be as specific as possible. Number 3, what is this person, your dream woman? What is their dream man? What do they look like? What do they have? Write down all those qualities, because that's the man or person you have to be to attract this person. And number 4, where does this person, that's very specific, now you have a 3D model to work with. Where does this person congregate? And then go there, right? And so I knew I wanted someone that like loved the arts, was probably artistically minded. Where would I find this person? So that narrowed it down. Also, I wasn't the person that I had to be to attract this person yet. Claire went all in on my potential, and I'm grateful for that. She's kind of a dope for doing that. I'm sure if she had 10 other women friends, they'd be like, "Oh, girl, he ain't all that," and I wasn't. But she just saw potential.
For me, this.
But she was everything I wanted, and she also didn't have all the things I know I didn't want it, and that's important too. Yeah, that way you know the person when you're there, and you're like, "Oh shit, this person has like 8 out of 10 of the things. I gotta like not fuck this up," and I also got to be upfront and be like, "Look, here's what I'm about. Here's the real me. You need to know the real me." That's a crucial part of the process. We always present our like the best versions of ourselves when we're courting. The first 5 seconds I met Claire, I walked up to her, I went to her house, and I picked up my belly, and I picked up her shirt. This is inappropriate. And our 2 bellies kissed. And I said, our 2 bare bellies kissed. And I told her, this is just to like get all the bullshit out of the way. And let's just like already be here as 2 people. Audacious, I know, but like we were already talking. It wasn't like the first time I ever saw her ever, so we were already talking. And I did that to just be like, look, I don't want to be fake around you. Here's the real me. Here's all my baggage, right? And I also wanted to know more about her. And I looked at her as a human first and foremost. Like, I already knew what I wanted, and I already knew what I didn't want. And I love the fact that she was not, she didn't have the red flags. I loved that. And that meant a lot to me at the time. And we went all in on each other. I put a baby in her, and it's good. It's good right now. It's good. It's good. You can do that with someone, and maybe you only last 2 years. That's cool too. Good intentions, like good experiences. You take that data, update your lists, like the iOS software. And this is weird, reading the comments, but I got to get used to multitasking because my brain can go off. But I think when you make that list, man, like what it is you're looking for. Like this goes back to who is it, Seth Godin, that says start with why. That's the answer to fucking everything.
Yep. I feel like I'm a few steps back from comprehending what you just said. Like I feel like
proximity is power. Knowing who this person is that you're looking for. Otherwise, you're barking up the wrong tree, and that helps that helps you quell the social anxiety, the fear, because you know what you're looking for. You're not wasting your time.
I don't have that. I don't have a person. Like I can't define that. I can't say it's Sally or
I think you can do that. I think you can. I totally think you can.
I can't. I've put the fire out on all of those things that exist.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
It means there were fires for certain people that it kept burning too hot, and that burning sensation of those particular people, not like in a STD sense,
I'm kidding.
Like in the sense of like that passion, that fire, that inner thing, it just kept burning to the point at which it was mostly like people, is judgment. It was so much judgment based off of what the things that I've been talking about, like not being enough for someone. So then I was just like,
Were those things that
where
you
am I
were not
going?
enough for valid?
Oh, for them, I'm not to judge what I'm not for them. And when
But
they're
you also
clear,
have to, say for example, someone's like, I really like you, Knives. You're charming. You're cool. You got a good career.
yeah,
You got a nice cyber truck. That's cool.
hmm
But I'm not a chubby chaser. I'm not
hmm
into fat dudes. So, no offense, but I'm gonna go look for something else. How
I
valid
think
is
that
that though?
these
How valid is that? I'm not her type. I'm not X enough, right?
right,
But
hmm
objectively, yeah, I could be working on myself. I'm man enough to say I could be better looking. I could be more fit.
right.
So how valid are those? You're not X enough. How valid is that for you?
Oh, okay. I'm a bit confused with what you're asking, but I want to say
If
this
someone
though
says
that I
you're
think
not
that
X enough, is there any validity to that?
do I take that to heart? Most likely, yeah,
Do
I think so.
you criticize it
Do I
critically?
criticize myself
No.
for
Do you
not?
take her criticism critically
Yes. Oh, do I? Oh
and
man, now
and and
the
into
words are getting fuzzy
consideration?
here.
Okay. Do you
The
take
words are getting
her
fuzzy.
what you weren't enough as? Do you take it under consideration?
Yes, I do.
Sounds
Does it mean it's executable? Okay, let's say the first thing she says is, "You're weird. I don't like you. You do weird things." Well, then what are those things that I'm doing, and can I stop doing those things to be more normal or regular? And then I realized to myself, well, I can't do that. Then the next thing is, it's okay, but your weight is here. Okay, well, I'm trying to do work on that, and then I achieve that goal, and then it's like, well, I liked you when you were that person in that place at that time with this face, with that hairstyle, with that, and all these things just keep going down a row where it's just like the fire's burning really hot. My 20 other friends have fucked you, and I haven't had the chance. And
And is that all you
and
want? Is that all you want out of?
no, it's my 20 other friends have fucked my girl or the girl that I'm pursuing. You
Does
know what I
that
mean?
bother you?
Uh, yeah,
So what?
it does.
So what? When you create your pros and cons list, like, is that a pro or a con that your
But
20
I
other
mean,
friends?
I'm 18 years old and I'm not making any pros or cons lists. I'm saying now at 26 than I am today, I am making the mature decision. But at the time when I was, pursuing these particular people, because remember, this is my
Mm.
hometown.
Hmm.
You
Oh,
know what
you.
I mean?
But this goes back to context. You were too vague and you didn't explain any of that. So I was
No, but
not to know.
I mean, this your camera's
Yeah.
gone.
Oh yeah, I know what it is. I hate this thing. Yeah, it's the thing about cannons, man. They stop after 30 minutes. So go ahead.
Um, the there's just these stories. So like I said, I can't count how many girlfriends that I've claimed validated with the title girlfriend, and I can't validate how many of those girls would accept that title have of
Okay.
I called them my girlfriend. They also called me their boyfriend. This there was a
It's called being in a
agreement,
mutual like relationship,
a
right?
mutual relationship, right.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, but I also don't know how many girls claim that with me not, like maybe there was like a relationship, but I wasn't present in that way with them.
Yeah.
And then vice versa.
I think that's
I have
normal, dude. That's normal. That's normal,
But anyway, so
when you're
now
younger. Yeah.
fast forward, I'm 26.
Yeah.
There's certain girls still around because I live in my own hometown that the fires never burned quite right. It was either raging hot or it was just like you couldn't, like, you would throw more fuel on the fire, but it never really went anywhere.
Yeah.
And when I was growing up and having, trying to date girls in high school and college, it was almost like there was always a you remember how you said I auto neg things?
Yeah.
Like to the X amount, I felt like that was how it would go with the girls that I was getting involved in. It was
They
like,
would auto neg you.
oh, it would be like, hey, how are you doing today? What the fuck are you texting me for, bitch? Like it would be like so aggressive from a female standpoint of like, you're not good
But
enough
these
to
aren't
talk.
girlfriends.
See, that's where things sometimes would
Were
get
you under
get
the
blurry.
impression that these were your girlfriends?
Uh, some of them, some of them.
Some of them you were under the impression that these were your girlfriends and you were their boyfriend.
Well, see, like I don't think as a kid, like I was behaving.
I thought we were
Like
back at
my
26.
no. I haven't dated anybody in like I
Okay.
haven't dated anybody in 6 years, so
And
maybe
what's
longer than that.
and Nop Top in the comments says, honestly, it sounds like they were the wrong girl, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that's awesome. Like I mean, the wrong girl. That's kind of true. It's also just like it's also like you only can interface with the girls you so maybe every girl that I've known has been the wrong girl, and
yeah.
I'm at 26 now trying to interface with new communities to
Yes.
find new
Brains.
behaviors and
Yeah.
new things, and
Yeah.
it's just like the internet
Yeah.
as a new community has not been my has not been my flavor,
Yeah.
and then it's been very difficult because so much it's like people exist primarily on the internet. It seems like the small few of people who have a analog uh lifestyle that still do like in-person stuff, they're still on their phone on Instagram whenever you're with them. They're still like whatever.
Hmm.
And my interests are technology based, not necessarily the internet, because I like podcasts. Those can be offline if you wanted to do them.
But to be fair, um, that doesn't define you totally. And these women, there's much more to Trent Knox than your career. There's much more. There's more to me than my career. Like this, everything that the internet sees on Knives Monroe is 10% of Knives Monroe, for sure. And
Yeah.
so, like with Claire and I, she doesn't give a fuck
Mhm.
about this. Doesn't give a fuck about this. She supports it. She's been on the show. She's for it. All that, but she
Yeah.
doesn't care that I care. There's nothing like. There's nothing more like. There's nothing less of a turn on than, hey Claire, I heard on Joe Rogan today that she doesn't give a fuck. She doesn't give a fuck. And I respect that.
Yeah.
But
There's
our
just gonna be
relationship is much
synchronicities.
more than that, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I'm curious about her. Still, I'm curious about her. So like, don't just remain curious about the opposite sex. Remain curious. Get to know them. What are they into? How can you facilitate them? Get to know them. Maybe they're funny.
The
Maybe they're not.
challenge. Okay. The other challenge is like people. That there's somebody recently had a podcast. I want to say that they came onto the show and they were saying like how their behavior had changed in regards to think I want to say it was on the I want to say it was Echo Charles who said this actually, where his wife was watching like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and he would go in and he would auto neg the
Hmm.
show, just saying like I don't even know why you watch this, and
Right. I know. I
they're
know
kind of,
exactly where this is going. Go on.
and then eventually he kind of moved into the behavior of like giving a fuck a little bit,
Yeah.
just so that there wasn't any negative emotions or anything, or some sort of negative discourse between him and his wife. And so like I think the challenge for where I'm at is that what I don't drink alcohol. I don't participate in these those festivities. And I also, you know, I'm not a big fan. Like, I'm not a big a fan of the Instagrammable moments, like going to the lake, or like, I don't know, sunbathing in Zilker Park, like, or doing yoga for a picture, goat yoga, like these things. I'm just like, where is the common zone? And the common zone often becomes, nightclubs, or places, school. Like, this is when we go back to the beginning of this podcast, I think, or maybe it was the live test that we were doing, where we were talking about, the university system just being a place where you could meet people. And now I've kind of aged out of that, and now I'm trying to find my place.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to the last podcast where I said I'm trying to find my tribe, I'm also just trying to find my place. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
totally do. I've
yeah.
met up with enough Austin filmmakers in the scene to know that
Hmm.
they ain't my people, and that sucks because that's why I moved here. I put all my eggs in that basket, and I was like, they're not my people. Then who are my people?
Hmm.
And meeting up with the podcast scene here was like, oh wow, these people are like me. That's cool, and they're
Closer to who you are.
much more, and they're chill. And the demo, is aged up, matured up. People have careers and like this is like a side thing and very interesting. It's a different. Whereas filmmakers are very like, you know, if you've met one, you've met them all in a lot of ways. And
Hmm.
so it's important to know what your hobbies are and what excites you and going to those events. And if there's a girl and you guys got a connection, cool. Then you have this hobby that's like this buy-in, this gateway to get you closer to them, right? But even then, it's not like you're gonna date you're gonna marry a live streamer gamer who's into everything that you are. Possibly, but you don't know. You
Yeah.
could your soulmate could be a baker, or could be a
Yeah.
fucking someone that is gonna be a dependent. That's a stay-at-home mom, right? And that's cool too. But I think if you get very specific on your list, you'll know the red flags, who they are, and you also that part of that. The most important part of that is the proximity, man. Like knowing where these people are. Maybe they're in these clubs. Maybe they're on
Yeah.
Instagram, and so you DM them, and then it proceeds from there. Or maybe they are on Tinder. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Food toy. Have you tried dating sites? You're not alone. It's a huge industry. You don't have to answer that, but it's obviously.
Well, I mean, I think this. I will answer this again, or not answer again. I'll repeat myself in this sense. Yeah, I've tried Tinder, Bumble, Facebook dating, Plenty of Fish. I've tried all of the websites,
What
and
about Christian Mingle?
here, I haven't tried Farmers Only. Like, I haven't gone to those fringes. Like, and I am going to other areas to search that thing, but it's also like, at what point do I think of myself as a weirdo because I'm doing this on the internet? I kind of, I, Tinder was like something that I was just like, man, I don't know. Like, in 2015, I was like, hell no. I was like, hell no, I'm not going on Tinder. That's for those people. But then I became one of those people. I was like, might as well just try it out. I also said, I'm not gonna go and get in a lift. People get murdered in people's cars. And then I was like,
I'm gonna go be a
I
Lyft
guess I'm just
driver.
gonna go get a lift. Yeah, I'm gonna be a Lyft driver, for God's sake. And it was just like one thing, perspective changes over time. And I'm not the guy that will beat a dead horse to death. When I start feeling like it's too much, it's like there's no, like, my matches are sitting at 0 for 2 years. you know I'm gonna be like, maybe I should just like not try this thing anymore. The other thing is, like, I hear from people is like, never quit. The never quit mentality. Like, go until your fingers bleed, or you or you there's two sides. There's these super opposing things like no fap versus fap all the time, and it's like who do you which spectrum do you listen to?
I think you're denying your inner voice.
I mean, no, that's why I just said like I think I do listen as far as listening to when to quit. I definitely.
Right. That yes. Yeah, that yes. I don't know if Reddit is going to be the thing that provides the breakthrough or the come to Jesus eureka moment when it comes to unlocking something for you. You know what Jordan Peterson would say? He would say you got to fucking work on yourself first, right? And become a desirable alpha, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that involves waking up and fixing your bed and doing all these little micro wins, and then these micro wins eventually get to a place where you're there at the grocery store and you're getting avocados and you're like, man, this is not the time, but I'm gonna take a shot. And you take a shot, and what do you know?
And you eat those grapes.
And you eat the grapes, and the end, happily ever after. And you walk up to the girl and you make a joke, and she laughs, and one thing leads to another. I mean, who knows, right? So I think when you have the confidence of all these micro wins and you feel good about yourself and the self-worth is there.
Are we always in the state of stealing someone else's opportunity? Is that the way it is? Are we always stealing someone's girl or someone's potential girl?
I think the problem with that is this idea of ownership. We don't own anything or anybody. I don't own Claire. I don't even own my kids.
Yeah, but then someone shoots you because or pulls up on your house and assaults you or something. You know what I mean?
Of course.
There's consequences.
And so just because I owned my house, is that going to save me from that? No.
I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to steal your whole house, but
Google it. It happens to people.
I don't know.
Noptop,
I guess that's true.
Spend time doing stuff that you're interested in and get to know who you are and what you want. And you'll likely be in the midst of it and meet the girl who's doing the same.
So that's kind of like the gym for me, I guess. Like that's where, I mean, I relate to that statement. The gym right now seems like that I'm not in the right gym. So I'm going to be changing my gym membership to kind of get closer to that. Obviously, like so many things are changing in my life. So, I mean, while I'm being general, because I can't be too specific.
Of course.
About the way that my life just changes out of nowhere. Because who knows where I'll be in 3 months. I might be just closer to Austin or further away, further north. And so like I want to, for an individual, being an individual that's no longer as dependent on my parents' financial resources or and that some wells are about to and those wells that are drying up have relations to family, friends, a lot of different things. And it's just kind of all, I don't know how to deal with, I don't know. I tried living with friends for a bit, and that whole situation burned like the phoenix, like a fiery phoenix. And it wasn't, I don't know.
I hate when people tell me this, and so here I am telling you this, but at the same time, it's true. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so frustrated. It's good that you know when to quit. That's good, because sometimes I don't. And I mean, I will eat a rotten banana because I don't fucking know, right? So I've been there, but at the same time, like, it's things aren't perfect, and insofar as you tried things, maybe you tried things 3 times, and you're not gonna bowl a strike every time the first time you bowl. What you are in charge of, what you do have control of, is your body and your brain and your health. What you put into your body, what I mean mostly, and
nutrition,
and your exactly nutrition, and like your human connections and relationships, and and your job. Even if you're an entrepreneur, like you eat what you hunt. Then you got to hunt more. You got to be more intelligent about that, right? So, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, dude. Like before you get to the top, you got to have that foundation. And right now, I know you're working on that. You're working on that.
Mm-hmm.
And build that foundation one brick at a time, man. First, do that first.
Yeah.
We always want a shortcut and get to the top and find that person, even though, you know, your living situation isn't ideal and your work situation isn't optimized and all that, you know. Work on those things first. And I think your mind will be... My girls are starting to bug me. They're always asking me questions like, who are you and where am I? I don't know what that means. But yeah, man, so continue brick by brick on that foundation. I think that's crucial.
True. I think establishing those things that I feel are where I'm insufficient as far as like as a human being myself. Like I'd much rather be in control of my own domain. You know, being the place I live, being the job I do, being the products that I use, so many things. But I think that going against the grain, I feel like I'm going against the grain sometimes. I feel like, you know, the whole not being a corporate man or, you know, not being a burger flipper at McDonald's, not being like everyone else in my work life, and then also, you know, not having been in the situation where you're kicked out of the house at 18 and you never go back. Like I've gone back in several different ways. I've gone back to live with my parents at situations, and I know people who are in, you know, never left that. But it seems like, you know, that American dream, I'm just like not, I'm somewhere, I'm just not along those lines. I don't know. I don't think that
put
I'm
your
alone in
life
that
on
sense.
another stencil. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Don't do that.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, nobody does it like the right way, you know?
Yeah.
Claire was like
But
4
did
months
you
pregnant,
do you
and I
ever
was
have
working
these-
at Burger King when Claire was 4 months pregnant. Work is
Yeah.
work, is what the other Mexicans would tell me. Like, work is work. The kids got to support your family. Work is work.
Yeah.
You want to talk about pride? Fucking 6 years ago, I was working at Burger King with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, like, I didn't think I was too good for it. You know what I mean? That wasn't the right way to do it. You're supposed to go to
Yeah, but,
college,
like,
get a house, build a family, then get the dog. Then, you know, I wasn't going to do it according to somebody else's stencil paradigm.
But do you ever have these, like, I don't know, because you talk about the Matrix and unplugging from the Matrix. I have these like daydreams of like people as robots, and like it's just like they get stamped out. Like this blonde cookie cutter girl gets stamped, and then she's thrown into the world, and she's expected to work and get a job and pregnant. And then there's these same with blonde dudes, brunette girls, all this black, white, Puerto Rican, Asian. There's just these type of people that are just like stamped and sent along the way to go down the conveyor belt of life. And I just don't, I feel like a toy that was knocked off the conveyor belt and is like trying to get back on track.
I think that is the depression talking.
Yeah.
The anxiety, all the negativities. Like it's the shadow talking. You're not a broken toy. I don't think that's true. I don't think it's actually true. Yeah, that's how you feel. I'm not trying to say you don't feel that way, but I don't think in the grand matrix the algorithm fucked you, abandoned you, you're a misfit toy. No, I don't think that. I think the way you feel is the way I feel and everybody feels when the ground, when during an earthquake, essentially during a transitional period, during a life event, it's normal. First of all, it's normal, totally normal. People don't have the guts to talk about it on a live stream, but it's totally normal. And
dude, I might be crazy. Dude, I don't know. Like, nothing live stream, not live stream, it doesn't make a difference for me. I don't know what happened. Somewhere along my life, it was just like, I'm always on camera. I gotta be true all the time.
Yeah, that's also normal. I know a lot of people who have cameras on them 24/7. It's like,
Yeah,
that's it's also part of it, But most people, like I said, don't put it out there on a stream. Most people, and that's fine too.
I hear what you're saying.
Food Toy says, could you be overthinking it because it hasn't happened yet? I think it's possible. I think when you're in that state of mind where you're at right now, it's normal to overthink it because that's all you can do sometimes at this moment.
Are we talking about like the future?
The future,
Like overthinking the future?
Where you're at right now, where you want to be, the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah. We gotta wind down here, but I can tell you, this is like a great step in the future of doing like 4-hour live streams. I want to get there. Like, now it's possible. I just got Discord up on a different monitor, blew it up full screen. OBS has a display capture. I was doing the live switching there for a while.
Well, here, let me get into the meta of all of this. Is like, it's not so much on YouTube, but shout out to the YouTube viewers out there. But on Twitch, which is like the live streaming mecca.
It's more lit knives on Twitch.
I wouldn't say it's anything different than that. Discoverability is crazy, but as far as like the mecca of people, there's a large amount of people streaming there. Is that they've kind of pioneered these new live streaming situations where there's round tables, multiple people discussing topics. You select a topic and people discuss these, and it's
I like that
long format podcasting.
I like that
with multiple people, virtually.
That's how I got put on initially. Was I would infiltrate the chat rooms.
Yeah.
Be incendiary. Who the fuck is this Knives Monroe guy? Put him on camera. I'd be on camera, and that was my shot. And I'd steal and hijack the show. And it became the Knives Monroe show, and then people would follow me. And so when I went live, I had my audience that I had siphoned from other rooms like that.
You know what's so beautiful about that?
What?
Back then, motherfuckers didn't have representation.
Insofar as?
So these big streamers, they have representation. So that whole having other people on that aren't known or that are not signed to the label of whatever stream group that you're part of, then you're not getting on stream because they're not putting any water in your bucket.
Of course, yeah, I could see that. I could see
But
that.
back then-
but that's
back
if
then
you're
people didn't
that's if you're trying to
do
get
that.
put on by Ninja or whoever's one of the Spice Girls on Twitch. Like, not everybody. I mean, what if it's a room of 40
Dude,
people?
that's so beautiful. I loved how you just said that.
Why?
One of the Spice Girls. Because it just seems like all of them are just carbon copies of each other. It's just like...
To be fair, I don't know them.
One's
And you're
like
right.
the-
Like, I would love to do this on Twitch, and we'll do it on Twitch next time, and maybe we'll see what the organic is. There's a Knives Monroe canon that's happening. Like, this is a podcast that's going to be on my show. There it is. It's part of the canon. Part of, I mentioned this, I can't remember if we did it off camera or in the beginning, but I'm project based. So the podcast has been like this great way of being productive, of keeping me on a schedule. And I'm very grateful for that. Cool. Food Toy. Well, you better follow both Trent and I on Twitch if you want that to happen. All that just to say, being prolific right now has really impacted my self-esteem, my self-worth, my productivity, and all the positivities that I get that try to make me feel better and help me go to sleep at night. Being prolific. I see you right now, no smoke, like Trent's going live, Trent's going live, Trent's going live in a fucking gym. You know, Robert Gardner going live again, and all in one day. I'm just like, fuck, man. I'm having like, I'm grateful if I upload a 1 minute podcast that day, you know? So I see you crushing it, and like keep doing that. And I'm going to slowly, whereas the old paradigm for Knives Monroe, say circa 2019, doing the podcast, I averaged one podcast a month. And so I've left a lot of upside and connections with humans on the table. And my growth as a creative slowed down considerably. And I can see that now because I've fine-tuned this pretty well. You know, like I got this camera, I got this, cool. Sit in tomorrow, it's set. And so I'm ready for the next one. And so as opposed to overthinking it and like putting it all on the table on one day and fuck all that. So every new product like helps me learn a new thing to make tomorrow's better. That's life. So you and Futoy mentioned going on Twitch. We'll be doing that. When you go, this is episode 25 in a row. I haven't done day 25 of anything in a row. But what does day 500 look like?
Yeah, I couldn't make it there, so
That's the shit. That's the shit. That's, I mean, and you know, and the goal is, well, how about I don't fap for 500 days? Mm-hmm. How about I don't drink soda or something for 500 days? How about I run 3 miles every day for 500 days? And like this kind of helps me get on that JP Jordan Peterson shit. Mm-hmm. And you then, like, when you see an opportunity, you take it, you don't hesitate. Or if you take an opportunity and somebody else steals one, to use your vernacular, it doesn't bother me because I know there's another one. It's gonna be another one. It's fine. When you exist in that like daily at bat, woo, that's a pocket, baby. That's a pocket I want to be in, man. So thank you for inspiring me and being a part of that tapestry, for being a star, a part of my star-spangled banner. It means the world to me. For people listening that are going to hear this in perpetuity in the future, where do you want them to find you on the internet, and how can they support the cause?
Yeah, I was going to say before that, though, are you planning on doing something like this regularly? Like a regular live stream?
It's something that like I can't do during work hours, even though I want to.
Okay.
You know, but in the after hours, after dark, just kidding. Like, you know, on a Saturday night I can do it, on a Sunday morning I can do it, right? But I want to do it more. And if I ever got into a position where this is my life, I would do it whenever the fuck I want. Do it 3 times a day.
Yeah, man. If I'm available, I'm here to be a guest or a co-host or whatever, you know, to jump on and even I was even gonna say bring some other people on. I wish that was in focus, man.
It looks cool out of focus.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm like a District 9 alien. It looks so cool. Oh, let's do this. Let's do this. Go back to us doing this together.
Oh yeah, so if I'm available, I'm definitely going to be doing a co-host.
Yeah, man. We'll work on our project that we had together. We just need to figure out like the beats of that, you know.
Yeah, that one out.
And then we could do this like exclusively there, and that'll be good for both of us.
And then so the last one, finishing this off, I was going to say that like I would definitely want to bring extra extra guests on and whatnot, and provide you more and more and more value as far as that goes from the hipster zone of things. But if you're listening to this and you like what I've said, or if you want to hear more things sort of similar to what I say, you can follow me on Instagram at Trent Knox TV, where you can follow my gym journey as I'm kind of trying to get healthier and more fit. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, or anywhere to see the live streams of that. And so Trent Knox TV on Instagram, and then Trent Knox pretty much on all other platforms.
Trent, I think you're a part of the three-timer club on my show. You, my friend JR Molina, and Claire are now tied for who's done this show 3 times. And so thank you for that. I love you, brother. Let's fix this, make this better, sharper, faster, better, stronger. And thank you for helping me, as you always do.
I don't know why, but the Sennheiser AVXs don't. They use battery.
Just kidding. I love you, bro. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Never ever believe anything you hear. And believe only half of what you see. And always, 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 forever and ever and ever, put a force field around your heart.